Prabhupada ki jai. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Mahapuran ki jai. Thy Gaur Premanande. All glories to Samruddhi Devotees. All glories to Samruddhi Devotees. All glories to Samruddhi Devotees. Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3rd, chapter number 25 and text number 34. The glories of devotional service as explained by Kapila Deva. Na ek atmanam atmatam me sprahyanti kechit mat pada seva abirataha mat iha ye anyonyataha bhagavataha prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani naikatmatam me spruhayanti kechin madpada seva birata madiha ye anyonyato bhagavataha prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani naikatmatam me sprhayanti kechin madpada seva birata madiha ye anyonyato bhagavataha prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani naikatmatam me sprhayanti kechin madpada seva birata madiha ye anyonyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani
sprahyanti kechin matpada seva bhirata madiha yanyo bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani.
Savajayante mama paurushani.
Naikatmatam me spurayanti kechin.
Naikatmatam me spurayanti kechin.
Matpadu seva virita madiha.
Matpada seva virata madiha.
Ye anyayoto bhagavata prasangya.
Ye anyayoto bhagavata prasangya.
Savajayante matpurushani.
Savajayante mama paurushani. Others? Naikatmatam me sprayanti kechin. Matpada seva virata madiha. Ye anyayoto bhagavata prasangya. Savajayante mama paurushani. Naikatmatam me sprayanti kechin. Matpada seva virata madiha. Ye anyayoto bhagavata prasangya. Savajayante mama paurushani. Naikatmatam me sprayanti kechin. Matpada seva virata madiha. Ye anyayoto bhagavata prasangya. Savajayante mama paurushani. No. Never. Ekatmatam. Merging into oneness. Me. My. Spryanti. They desire. Kechit. Any. Matpada seva. Service of my lotus feet. Avirataha. Engaged in. Mat iha. Endeavoring to attain me. Ye. Those who. Anyonyataha. Mutually. Bhagavataha. Pure devotees. Prasajya. Assembling. Sabhajayante. Glorifying. Mama. My. Paurushani. Glorious activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A pure devotee who is attached to the activities of devotional service and who always engages in the service of my lotus feet never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities. There are 5 kinds of liberation stated in the scriptures. One is to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to forsake one's individuality and merge into the Supreme Spirit. This is called ekatmatam. A devotee never accepts this kind of liberation. The other 4 liberations are to be promoted to the same planet of God, that is Vaikuntha, to associate personally with the Supreme Lord, to achieve the same opulence of the Lord, and to attain the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord. A pure devotee, as will be explained by Kapila Muni, does not aspire for any kinds of fire liberations. He especially despises as hellish the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Prabhupada Saraswati, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, said, Kaivalyayam narkayate. The happiness of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, which is aspired by the Mayavadis, is considered to be hellish. That oneness is not for pure devotees. There are many so-called devotees who think that the conditioned state, in the conditioned state we may worship the personality of Godhead, but that ultimately there is no personality. They say that since the Absolute Truth is impersonal, one can imagine a personal form of impersonal Absolute Truth for the time being. But as soon as one becomes liberated, the worship stops. That is the theory put forward by the Mayavadi philosophy. Actually, the impersonalists do not merge into the existence of the Supreme Person, but into his personal bodily lustre, which is called the Brahmajyoti. Although that Brahmajyoti is not different from his personal body, that sort of oneness merging into the bodily lustre of the personality of Godhead is not accepted by pure devotee, because the devotee engaged in greater pleasure than the so-called pleasure of merging into the existence. The greatest pleasure is to serve the Lord. Devotees are always thinking about how to serve Him. They are always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of the material existence. The Mayavadis accept the description of the pastimes of the Lord as stories, but actually they are not stories. They are historical facts. Pure devotees accept the narration of the pastimes of the Lord not as stories, but as absolute truth. The words Mama Paurushani are significant. Devotees are very much attached to glorify the activities of the Lord, where the Mayavadis cannot even think of these activities. According to them, the absolute truth is impersonal. Without personal existence, how can there be any activity? The impersonalists take the activities mentioned in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures as fictitious stories, and therefore they interpret them most mischievously. They have no idea of the personality of Godhead. They unnecessarily poke their nose into the scripture and interpret in a deceptive way in order to mislead the innocent public. The activities of Mayavadi philosophy are very dangerous to the public, and therefore Lord Chaitanya warned us never to hear from any Mayavadi about any scriptures. They will spoil the entire process, and the person hearing them will never be able to come to the path of devotional service to attain the highest perfection, or will be able to do so only after a very long time. It is clearly stated by Kapil Muni that bhakti activities or activities in devotional service are transcendental to mukti. This is called Panchama Purushartha. Generally, people engage in the activities of religion, economic development and sense gratification, and ultimately they work with an idea that they are going to become one with the Supreme Lord, mukti. But bhakti is transcendental to all these activities. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam therefore begins by stating that all kinds of prestigious religiosity is completely eradicated from the Bhāgavatam. Ritualistic activities for economic development and sense gratification, and then after frustration in sense gratification, the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord are all completely rejected in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The Bhagavatam is especially meant for pure devotees who always engage in Krishna consciousness and in the activities of the Lord. And they always glorify the transcendental activities. Pure devotees worship the transcendental activities of the Lord in Vrindavan, Dwarka, Mathura, as they are narrated in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and other Puranas. The Mayavadi philosophers completely reject them as stories, but actually they are great and worshipable subject matters and thus are relishable only for the devotees. That is the difference between Mayavadi and a pure devotee. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Saja Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagranatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasayam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagranatham Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatapate Gopesha Gopikakanta Radha Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gauranga Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakarpatarupyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Bharati Gaurava Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Naikatmatam me sprahyanti kechin madapāda seva virata madhira Yanyonyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurusham. Yesterday we saw Kapil Dev is extolling the activities of devotional service to be on the highest platform than anything else. And here he is reiterating the same truth, but in quite details. The word Mama Paurushani is very significant. Srila Prabhupada says that Mama Paurushani and Mama Virya Sambhita is identical. Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Sambhita Bhavat Virad Karna Rasayana Katha Tajjoshanavam Apavargavartamani Shraddha Rati Bhakti Anukramashyati. In the association of the devotees, when we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, Mama Virya Sambhita, the transcendental prowess of the Lord is being exchanged from the ear to the heart. Bhavanti Radhakarana Rasayana. Then immediately Tajjoshana Apavarga Vartani. Apavarga and Pavarga have been explained. Pavarga constitutes in the Sanskrit alphabet as Pa, Pa, Ba, Pa, Ma. Pa means parishram, hard labor. Pa means the fruit, means the karma phal. As soon as we grab the karma phal, we are under the bondage. It's a bandhan. And then anybody who is bound up must be fearful. There is no exception. Only madman thinks that he is not fearful. Rather, he wants to become fear personified. But in front of Krishna, fear personified, fear him. So, how is it that fear will not lead you to death? Ultimate death is the most fearful thing. So, this path is going to hell is called Pavarga. But Apavarga Vartamani is completely reverse. It is the path of liberation. Path of liberation is that easy for those who are devotees, but they don't stop at the point of liberation. Naikatmana bhava. Naikatmana bhava means never think that you are one with the Lord or you have merged into the Lord. This is the subject matter of impersonalists and Mayavadis. Generally, impersonalist means Lord Krishna does not have form and no qualities. Actually, qualities are there and the form is also there. Without qualities, the existence of form is not there. Guna Rup, but the form is there. But in spiritual understanding, spiritual potency, when it is applied as a service to the Supreme, who is all potent, then there is a congenial situation arises. It becomes meaningful, and that can be experienced. Just like Nama Rupa Guna Lila is always the sequence for manifestation of the form, manifestation of the quality prior to that. And prior to that is the form of the Lord is understood. But prior to that, the most basic requirement is to know the transcendental nature that follows. So it is embedded in the holy name. All the potencies are invested in the holy name alone. Nama namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis. Tatra vidam niyamita smaranena kala. This is a direct blow to the impersonalist. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put that's so much potency in the holy name. Nija sarva shaktis means the potencies are there, and potency has quality. We may not know the potent, but according to Haridas Thakur, unless and until the potency manifests, potent is known, not known. Potent can be only known when the potencies are manifested. Forget the potent whether it is present or not. But potencies are there, then whose? It's not your father's potency. Come on, Krishna, the Supreme Father's potency. So, and he describes that there are three kinds of potencies. So much an illiterate person will tell you the truth and you call it stories. Who was a Muslim as well as illiterate. And he tells the existence or the proof of God is that because the potencies of the Lord are present, they are manifested, and we can encounter. And for them, before Arjuna could see even the Virata Swarupa, potencies have to be described. He asked for it. My dear Lord Krishna, how do I recognize you? You said you are everything, and everything is manifested. So how do I recognize you? Kechit bhaveshu. And how different ways I can understand. So, Krishna says, well, my potencies are innumerable. I will tell you only a few. So you will recognize it. Only a few and measure of it. And he describes. He tried to describe such potencies also in 7th chapter, prior to that, just to incite him that I am this and I am that. Until and unless he accepted by reasoning that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it's only theoretically acceptance is there. And he knew the methodology for even theoretically accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because others say, and you also say the same thing. And there is no contradiction. So therefore I accept you. Asito devalo vyaso swayam chaiva pravishime. Parabrahma parabdhama. Paramam pavitra paramam bhava. Purusham shashvatam divyam adi devam ajam vibhum. Ahustvam sarvarusha devarshi nadat sata asito devalo vyaso swayam chaiva pravishime. So, when one argues equivocally, then we are cornered. We don't have any. So, Srila Prabhupada and Ramanujacharya means ISKCON of Gaudiya Math in that sense, and Ramanujacharya. They were the two stalwarts to chew the tail of Mayavadis. Therefore, we are good friends. We won't spare the Mayavadis. And Prabhupada put so much, understanding how to defeat Mayavadi. First, we should be convinced. We can convince through theoretical aspect that these are not stories, because these are histories. They have been recorded. Fictitious stories like Shakespeare's novel or any. If they are preserved, why not the histories? Even if you start with a fictitious stories, but then how do you get appeals? Machchitta madagata prana bodhayantascha parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti. This is the business of devotees who are always engaged in devotional service. Devotional service means glorification of the Supreme Lord. You can't read Shakespeare's novel or anybody's, just like Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. You can't read. Challenge. Nityam Bhagavata Seva, not Nityam Odyssey or any Romeo and Juliet Seva. You get tired of it. So, if they are fictitious stories, why a common man, and that too in a multitude of 1.2 billion people on the globe of Earth, are they blind? The Britishers thought that they are blind. And then they want to denigrate them. But they could not budge. They may have destroyed but they failed actually uprooting the religion from the face of the world, at least Vedic religion. Otherwise they were very envious. It is the real asset that Prabhupada is fostering us by intellectual deliberation. That's why he is giving a good comparative understanding for those multitude of Mayavadis and impersonalists. Generally people ask, what is the difference between Mayavadi and impersonalists? Both are impersonalists, means they don't have faith. They want to merge their existence because they are frustrated. They don't tell, but they are frustrated. That's why they want to commit suicide into impersonal aspect. That is their goal, destroy. This is as good as a fanatic who wants to destroy everything because he can't get his hands into. These are two extremes. One is allowing you to commit suicide, not by carrying a human bomb, They have virtually no sense. They must be actually believing in zero, not Allah. Complete negation. One who wants to annihilate himself by destroying others also along with it, they think it is victory. For what? Oh, do you think with such a great pain in 1 second that is not observable will be pleasing to Allah? No. They are fanatics. So are impersonalists who want to merge into Brahman. Ishopanishad does not even give such credit to impersonal. How come the whole world is after impersonalism? It is so pervaded throughout the world. Impersonalism. Avyakta. You are manifested, and how come for a manifested person to contemplate on unmanifested? He doesn't know the manifestation is only physical, or there is nothing beyond it. Because he can't understand, he can't realize. So therefore, they play around with Brahmajyoti. And Bhagavatam tells us the dirty intelligence, Avishuddha Buddhaya. And they are not prone, they definitely fall down, even though reaching to the highest stage. They think, but it is not the highest stage. Brahmajyoti is transcendental stage, but to merge one's individuality means to commit suicide. So, what is the difference between an impersonalist who want to commit suicide after a long contemplation and a jihadi who is going to commit suicide by becoming a human bomb? What is the difference? Both are fanatics. Avishuddha Buddhaya. This is the foundation of their thinking. But Mayavadis are a step ahead. Why? He is afraid of death. He doesn't want to commit spiritual suicide. But he thinks, this is the story, and Krishna is the mastermind behind him, right? All these things. So why don't I become Krishna? Killing Krishna. Impersonalists simply kill their personality. But Mayavadi wants to kill his personality along with Krishna's personality by thinking that he will become Krishna. They want to replace Krishna. So, This is the basic difference between impersonalist and Mayavadis. Mayavadis are a step ahead. They want to kill the personality of Krishna. They want to become Krishna. Otherwise you won't find much difference. And it is said, Mayavadir Bhashya Sunila Hoyer Sarvana. As soon as a Mayavadi opens his mouth, you should be aware, what does he speak? Just leave him and run away from him. It's not that you are afraid physically, but you will be afraid of losing your spirituality. That's why you are running away. It's not cowardice, but it is victory. It's like a run chore. Get away from him. Because we have a higher purpose to achieve. So, pure devotees are always abiding in Krishna's words, how it is making him realize to the point of that he sees himself being transformed. If we abide ourselves in thinking of Krishna, Madmanabhava, Madchitta, Madgata Prana, our thinking pattern has to be aligned with the Madgata Prana. That his life is totally dedicated to him. So we can always think of him. Bodhentascha prasparam. We enliven each other. We enliven each other as devotees. That is our business. Kathentascha man nityam. Always singing my glories. That is our satisfaction. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. We become satisfied as well as we derive the eternal joy, the bliss. So, our existence is in the realm of the three quality Satchidanand existence. As far as the body and bodily configuration is concerned, three qualities and three energies, either in material world or spiritual world. They are the prime cause of creation. Three qualities and three energies. Spiritually, it's the same manifestation, but spiritual. But materially, it will be material manifestation. That's how Haridas is explaining. Because the Achit potencies are manifested and we can see, we can perceive. Because we also acquired the Achit potency. But we are supposed to be spiritual part and parcel. Where is the manifestation of the spiritual potency? Krishna says, Parastasmatu bhavonya vyakta vyakta sanatana. There is a different realm other than this material realm. That is spiritual. And it is eternal. So do you think this is a story? Or it is a matter of perception? If you are not ready to perceive by experience, then you will have a tight knot in your heart, never to get into that subject matter. This is how, because of the tight knot of ignorance is been in the heart of the living entities who tend to be impersonalists. That tight knot of ignorance is there. But the devotees, simply by performing any meritorious activity that supports Krishna consciousness, is immediately rewarded for an opportunity to perform further devotional service. Just like the holy name begets the holy name, devotional service begets devotional service. So more you do, more you are engaged. This is how we are told that living in this material life, our engagement is spiritual, then it overcomes the material existence. It means when we go into that spiritual nature, we are always engaged. We go with the job description because we acquired the job description here. It is to be continued there. That is Sanatana. While impersonalists hold, they have a shortfall. They don't have full job description because they never have experience of devotional job. Their application is rejected. Then they have to come again and try to fill out for lesser jobs. That is called philanthropy. Lesser job. Unless and until one knows how to perform devotional service, that qualification doesn't require degrees, doesn't require anything. But philanthropy is always on the material platform. Then it requires something to pay. Means use your hard-earned money to help others, but not to Krishna. So that is a lesser job description. And it's not that they are voluntarily doing it, they are forced to do it. Because they are obligated. A devotee is not obligated. They are free. So, yesterday we saw mukti. It is not that important. Bhakti. Savai punsam paro dharmo. Yator bhakti radokshaje. Ahai tuki atpati hataya yatma suprasivati. This is the first and foremost bold statement. And punsam means for whole humanity. Savai punsam paro dharmo. Yato bhakti radokshaje. Because it gives direct perception. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the fifth Purusharthas, or a higher purpose. Only 4 purposes are there? No. 5th purpose is Prema Pumartha Maha, Panchama Purushartha, is to attain the love of Godhead. Attain love of Godhead. Love of Godhead, who can think about love? one who is in relationship. Only they think. But can you imagine a person who is a loner? He doesn't have any idea how to love. A person who is not in relationship does not have any idea how to love. Impersonalists are loner. And a person who is a loner eventually turns into a mad person. Really, it is very difficult to live like a loner. Lone star. A cowboy is a lone star. Means he is all and soul, whatever he survives. He is simply living between life and death. That is his business. American cowboy is a lone star. Texas is a lone star state. The whole Texas is a lone star state. And cowboy is the supreme idol. American idol. Lone star. Nobody else but him and with a gun. This is his existence. So, impersonalists are lone stars. They have nothing but word jugglery in their mouth because that is their gun. Shoot, shoot, shoot. And they will speak on the things which are incomprehensible by the common people. So he thinks he is the Lord and Master. He will have slogans, right? That is American Idol, and the whole world is, mad after this. In the beginning, we were watching this so-called cowboy movies. Lone Star is very famous word. Impersonalists, they use their word jugglery, the grammatical word jugglery of impersonal aspect, because they need to constantly struggle amongst the environment of personalism. Klesho adhikatas tesham avyaktasakta chetasam avyaktahi gatir dukkham dehavat virvapyate. Because he has acquired the body, he is a lone soldier there. And his entire atmosphere of thinking, feeling and willing on the impersonal aspect. A person who has manifested, how can he contemplate on the unmanifested? It is extreme struggle, complete two opposite situation. So, Krishna says, the end game is nothing but trouble for him. He has to somehow or other, by hook or crook, push his idea against the personally manifested things. He's a loner. But he develops udasinta. Udasinta means indifference. Because he's so staunch in himself, very strong in personality in himself, that he rejects everything. He's a very strong person. He may develop indifference, but don't be mistaken. Because he thinks he is the one who knows everything. Because everything is going to be destroyed, but I am going to die. But but your body is going to be destroyed and you will be hanging in the air without any support. He thinks you don't need support. But if you don't need support, are you going to support everybody? Either way. If you are under support, or you are the support of everything. If you think you are the support of everybody, then your name will be Krishna. And if you don't, then you merge. A devotee cannot digest this kind of proposal. Why? Nekatmana. No ekatma bhava. He cannot digest this. Because the element of love is within in his heart. Right? Bliss potency is there. And bliss is only given by love. This guy is a loveless guy. He doesn't know the value of love. He doesn't have any experience. The gully of love is very narrow. Only 2 people will be required. And he doesn't go into. You and your Lord, you have a loving relationship. But how much a little spark who thinks he doesn't need love, whatever he has, a little, it's also dried off. So he can't. So can you exist within 2 that you are eternal and fully knowledgeable? That's the only 2 aspects an impersonalist can have. Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat and Chit he might be able to develop, but no Anand. He requires another person, another living entity. So, if he denies the personality aspect of the Supreme Lord, then can anybody love himself? It's called Nijanand. Nijanand is a state that one who loves himself. And we call it mad, crazy. Can you love yourself? You can love your body. Because body is something different from you. Therefore you can love your body. But that's also ignorance, isn't it? Vanity is going to fade away. चार दिन की चांदनी फिर अंधेरी रात. When the full moon is there, the moon is going to shine, but how long? For 4 more days, then again fading. It's going to be complete darkness. So, a self-love cannot be sustained. There is no sustainability. It needs, supplication. The supply should be there. The reservoir. Mistakenly we think, we will get love from our partner. Don't think. Better engage in loving devotional service to the third party called Krishna. It will solve all the problems. Don't expect that love. Expect duties, fine, from each other. But you can't immediately repose your attention and make the center of your life. Center should not be different, and that is Krishna. You cannot defeat yourself. You can't love your family. You can't love wife even that much. Or children that much. Because this is all transitory. You can't hold them. But you can hold Krishna. Krishna is not transitory. But he will play games with you. That is a loving game. Alright? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed this game plan. Right? If we don't understand, then we may lose the game. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha prarushaitam sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena. The game starts when Krishna is hiding from you. But it is an expression of love. Unless and until we feel the pangs of separation, we will not understand the value of love. More we feel, more loving nature will be exposed. That is the true love. More pains we feel, more loving nature will be exposed. But in material world, and that too in Kali Yuga, we have limitations. Because there will be contract marriages according to Bhagavatam. There will be contract marriages. So a real love will remain absent. Love is not the central focal point of our livelihood. But love reposed on somebody else other than Krishna is also going to be failed. So this is the Pancham Purushartha. Only devotee can perceive, according to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, when we keep Krishna in center of our life. And because Krishna has individual relationship with all his part and parcels, we cannot take the family to Krishna directly, but we engage them in Krishna's service so they build their individual relationships and loving relationships. And other cannot interfere in it. Once established, and Guru will also promote, but he will not interfere. Unless called for when some disaster is going to happen. So the idea is Pancham Purushartha is available to devotees only, not to the impersonalists. So they are dry, loveless people. One shouldn't marry an impersonalist. So therefore, always look for devotee, and the devotee who is a progressive devotee. We can repose. And the ladies have to make them their guru, if they are progressive. So, how could this be a fictitious story? Our life should not be like a novel, but reality. Because we are real people, but impersonalists are not real people. Mayavadis are worst unreal people, and the rest of the world is following them, only the devotees. They can prove by personal experience that by cultivating this Pancham Purushartha, prema pumartama, love of God, and through pure devotional service, nothing is fictitious. When it comes to love, love is real. How come an impersonalist will be superior, or they may destroy our devotional service. They may do disservice to the people. They are not beneficial to anybody. But people do not know because they have forgotten their eternal relationship with Krishna. So it is our business in ISKCON to re-educate them about and regain that relationship simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada's purpose are so distinctly clear, making everything so much clear. If it is fictitious, will it be clear, or it will be secret, still hidden, and only the author knows? Very clear. Why Prabhupada put Bhagavad as it is? Because he has a clear mandate to put Krishna's teaching and his desire. Who said Krishna did not express his desire? The violators always claim, Krishna doesn't need anything, so where is the question of his desire? What do you mean by he doesn't need anything? We are thieves, right? We have stolen. And we think, because he did not need, that's why I stole. Right? But one who has lost, he will be always after. And Krishna is so strong that he can be after anybody and to get these things back. He never failed. Mrityu sarva harascham. When the name Hari is concerned, when they say Hari, oh my God, be aware of Hari. He is going to take my things away. A Hara is better. Har Har Mahadev. He gives and he takes away. Why should I go to him? People misinterpret it. Even Lord Shiva. Look at that. He is so powerful. He has nothing himself, but he gives us everything. The Mayavadi says, I didn't want to give up, but anyway, you are going to take away. So, tera tujhko vapas kya lage mera? It is this kind of sentences remind us that he did not want to give in first place. Now, by force, it will be taken away. So why not say how it was yours and you are taking, what is mine? But he's still hanging to his mind separately. Even though person is bereft of every opulence, what is mine? Mine means mamata. Empty mamata will be there. Our attachments, the sense of attachment will still remain If you are emptied out all your attachment, oh, I have no attachment, means you have attachment empty. But we are told, don't keep vacancy. You should be attached more to Krishna. Isn't it? By giving up material attachment, we do not negate the positive attachment to Krishna. So Mayavadis are going to tell us completely different stories. Actually they are talking stories. Fictitious stories. Impersonalities. But as we said yesterday, and because it is practically perceivable, that is more logical to understand. If it is perceptible, then pratyaksha-avagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. That cannot be fictitious story. It's not mythology. When you can have direct perception, you do not require the attitude of impersonalists to perceive. They have dried off, their loving aspect. So they don't have any desire but to live like a statue themselves. They are dead statues. They don't have loving. They don't love the humanity even. So never trust them. Mayavadi Bhashya Sunele Hoira Sarvanash. Simply hearing such thing, and if you want to get attracted to that, forget it, you are going to be lost forever. Sarvanash. So, Prabhupada said, generally people engage in activities of religion, economic development and sense gratification. And ultimately they work with an idea that they are going to become one with the Supreme Lord, Mukti. But bhakti is transcendental to all these activities. Bhakti can be employed in religion, that's the first aspect. Economic development, bhakti can be utilized. Sense gratification, bhakti can be utilized. How? Yam krodha kama pranaya sahajadi viti vatsalya moha guru gaura sevya bhavai. Sanchityam tadrishim tanamapurete govindamadi purusham tamam vaya. Nothing is spared. All these different bhavas which are coming from Rajoguna and Tama, but if they are properly employed in the service of Krishna, Brahma says it is bhakti. So, mukti, he doesn't care. It will come on its own accord. Right? So, we go on the verdict of followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who were imbued in love of Godhead. They say, Mukti kevalya mukti narakayate. Prabhupada Saraswati. It is hellish idea. In hell there is no happiness, right? But people think if you get a wine there, it will be happy. idea of happiness. Everybody can see. Have you seen the advertisement of happiness is Coca-Cola? It's all hallucination. So the Pancham Purushartha is the target of the devotees. That is the fifth obligatory aspect of a devotee. If only obligation is there to develop love of God. We don't have other obligation. So, all the processes, 9 processes of devotional service, they are capable in themselves to lead to love of God. Everyone is targeting to love of God. That's the common denominator. Now choose one or all. We start by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And end with it. Again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Anybody has any question? Yes, Prabhupada.
Thank you for your class, Maharaj. Just in regards to the devotees dealing with impersonalists and Mayavadis, we understand that there is a growth within the Hindu community of various temples and different ashrams and so on and so forth. We also see that we have to deal with conventional religions like Christianity and Judaism and Muslim faith, who basically also, when you analyze it, also have an impersonalist aspect to them. So on a practical level, how do we deal with people from different faith traditions and different understandings? Do we see them as a negative, or do we somehow or other try to engage them in Krishna consciousness? Can you talk a little bit on that, please?
In early days, Srila Prabhupada was invited by all these different groups and multiple, even prior to Prabhupada arriving in USA, there were groups of Harbhajan, Yogi Harbhajan, then Muktanandas and others, they were there. And when they heard popularity of Hare Krishna, they also started inviting Prabhupada. Prabhupada would welcome and greet them, but would not go into intimacy. Prabhupada would say, it's a waste of time. But in a, what we call corporate world, we are even the competitors, we see something, but coexistence is required. So at that much level, we are told to become social and political for coexistence. Only up to that level. But we can't develop intimacy with them. Intimacy should be only with Krishna. We cannot impose them anything of our ideology. Because Krishna is self-sufficient, and by our behavior and dedication to Krishna, they will see. The only difference between them and us is only one. We are soul surrendered to Krishna, and they are not. They have access to develop all 26 qualities which are marginal characters. So that is possible with them. So a devotee is also depending only the external quality without surrender to Krishna. That means he is not a devotee. Our process is we are dedicated and soul surrender to Krishna, and other marginal qualities and manifestations are there. They are tatastha lakshana. Right? That makes the distinction by itself, and we don't have to propagate that. They are also showing some nature, but they are not soul surrender to Krishna. Yes.
90%
Yes.
of those people are actually in ignorance of either Mayavada philosophy or any sort of philosophy. When the devotees actually extend themselves and actually, in a sense, also become intimate with them, they have an opportunity of bringing that ignorance or dispelling that ignorance with bhakti. As a personal example, you're talking about Bhaktivedanta and Maharishi and those kind of people in the 70s. I was a product of that. And it was by the intimacy of the devotees that actually took me from that Mayavada philosophy to Krishna consciousness 40 years ago. So I see that there has to be also a loving, a caring, and outreach, understanding that everybody has Krishna within their heart, but in the same token, the majority of these people are in ignorance, ignorant of the Mayavada impersonalist philosophy. So they're a prime target for us to bring to Krishna consciousness. Would you agree with that?
Well, Prabhupada never showed much interest in them. But at the same time, he was very cordial in communicating with them. And that communication is essential as far as coexistence as institution is concerned. But we can't dilute our process. You know, generally when we are coming in contact with that and becoming intimate, we take something from them. We introduce some religious principles in main aspect. Prabhupada's preaching method is pretty simple, direct and perceptible, but many of our devotees who are acquainted with other things, they also say during Kirtananda time, they adopted a methodology diluting Srila Prabhupada as if in the interfaith system, which also boomeranged and gave a very hard lesson. You follow my point?
Yeah, that was one instance in history.
But the thing is, it was meant as an influence, and influence corrupts the consciousness. Now, we are representing Srila Prabhupada and his purity. We are not representing our individual thinking. We are slaves of Srila Prabhupada and that thinking, feeling and willing. We can't use our individuality at the expense of Prabhupada's process and dilute it. No. We can't, but such influences are there, so one must be extremely careful of this influence. In the beginning, Prabhupada told them not to indulge with anybody, because the tendency, the association creates an effect. Sangha, there's an association that is influencing. Some people glorify, Mayavadis glorified Srila Prabhupada in order to gain from us. Gain from us. We remain cordial, but at the same time, their intention is to take disadvantage of us. Many people shift, I know some devotees even enjoying Kripalu.
is coming from the level of compassion. That Lord Chaitanya showed compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. The majority of people are ignorant. If we stay strong in our sadhana and our attachment to Prabhupada in the process, we haven't a need to fear. We actually can go out and give compassion, give love to God to everybody.
And yes, we must be imbued with the love of Godhead first. Then and then we can distribute. Simply borrowing from there and distributing, that is not distribution. It should come through us. We should be benefited ourselves. Because love is overflowing. We are only able to distribute when we are filled it. So what it means is the maturity of the devotional behavior. That will be ultimate count. Prabhupada sees everything, all surrounding. He was not oblivious. But devotees who are not on that maturity can create a different result. Many times certain situation has been taken care, but could not progress further. Some of our God brothers have gone into interfaith and could not progress, not only in Vrindavan but elsewhere also. And it is done as far as some theological aspects is concerned. We also got quite prestigious chair in Cambridge and I think in University of California also, Berkeley chair is there. So that is given to such mature devotees, and they are at least preserving the legacy by writing and putting this into a presentable format. Even Prabhupada tried to attend that, what is that aspect, cultural aspect of Krishna consciousness. He was invited to go to Japan, remember, but he did not go. But in the light of Bhagavatam was coming out from that. So the presentation on a common bond is also there, but we can't dilute our process, and that is the problem. It requires a mature handling. That's one thing. I mean, we can make milestones if we win and retain our individuality. Any other question? Yes.
Maharaj, as you said, 4 दिन की चांदी पर अंधेरी रात है. The reciprocation with Krishna is so much. Ananyas Kintanto Mam Yena Parpaste, Deshanit Vyuktana Yokrimo Mayama. I preserve what you have got and I give you what you need. So who can do more than this? So he has to be a person. He can't be a person.
Hello. Thank you. That is the conviction of a devotee because he is the supreme and nobody can defeat him. So why should I be afraid? Prabhupada said, it's like a small child who is holding the hand of his father and some friend come and disturb him and scare him. He said, no, my father is there to protect me. Why should I get scared? That was his name. So, because the supreme means everything. A devotee who is under protection of the Supreme, the fear is gone. Protection and fear, these are two opposites. When you are protected, then where is the question of fear to exist in front of you? So, when that conviction is there, then you go anywhere, whether go to hell or heaven. Narad Muni goes to every place, right? Because he has so much conviction. Nakutaschana Vidyati. He was so bold to tell Kamsa, kill everybody who has just born in 10 days. I mean, a devotee telling Kamsa to create most heinous crimes, to kill. And Narad Muni is telling, oh. Well, this is where intelligence is winning over sentiments. Spiritual sentiments and material sentiments, they are opposing each other. We should be afraid of material sentiments. They interfere in devotional service. If we have to fear. But generally we do not think, oh, I'm Krishna conscious, so let my mind run loose with so many sentiments. No. Prabhupada already gave the definition. Religion without philosophy is nothing but sentimental movement. We are a sentimental movement. And at the same time, philosophy without religion is a dry mental speculation. So we have to keep both in mind. We should never fear any material obstacle. We will overcome because Krishna is there. We will overcome. And sannyasis are supposed to develop that. Otherwise they should not become sannyasi. That's what we saw yesterday, right? Anukulina Krishna Krishna. No? So we should be fearless. Cultivate fearlessness. Increase your fearlessness. If you do not become altogether fearless, we can cultivate gradually. And Prabhupada told in the preacher, don't go alone. Take somebody along with you. Together you preach. You know? So, you want to know something specific? Yeah.
I was just trying to think how and it's true that when one is actually Krishna conscious, one transcends all material happinesses and distresses. But then it's sometimes also hard to practice.
Yes. But hard to practice does not mean you have to become fearful. Fearlessness is free. Utilize everywhere. Never become despondent, never allow some kind of unknown future to take over you and remain desperately suppressed. No. Chant Hare Krishna with all enthusiasm. And your fears will go. Utsahat, Nischayat, Dhairya. Three elements are so vital and progressive devotional service. thank you very much. All glories to Prabhupada.